Let's now turn our attention to Professor Behari-Leak as she gives us a welcome address. Please, Professor Behari-Leak, the screen is over to you.
Thank you very much, Arthur. I'm going to share my screen now, but I want to firstly say good morning to you all, and after that very energetic greeting, it sets the right kind of tone and energy for the day. I hope we can keep that up throughout the day. My name is Kasturi Behari-Leak. I'm the chairperson of HELTASA and the president of the organization. And on behalf of the HELTASA executive team and the HELTASA community, I extend collegial greetings and a very warm online welcome to each of you to our first ever online HELTASA conference. I'm going to share my screen now. That we are all here today in this online space is testament to our collective commitment, fortitude, and courage in the face of the grave adversity that the coronavirus pandemic unleashed on all of us in 2020. It is also testament to the combined resilience of HELTASA as an organization, but the recognition of our host universities' perseverance, dedication, and courage to continue with the conference despite all odds. We thank the Central University of Technology's executive management, the conference team, and the indomitable conference convener, Dr. Malebo, for hosting us all and for all the hard work that made today possible. It is also thanks in advance for what will be a fantastic engagement over the next 3 days, if the successful pre-conference workshops yesterday are anything to go by. Well done, CUT, and a big thank you to you. I want to extend a warm and special welcome to our HELTASA family and community, who year after year attend each HELTASA conference, even in times of crisis. You are HELTASA. I want to welcome new members to the family today, joining HELTASA for the first time. I welcome our colleagues from neighboring countries in the Southern African region, from Ghana, Swaziland, Namibia, and even as far afield as the University of Minnesota. Welcome. I welcome all academic development practitioners who form the backbone of the scholarly engagement at HELTASA. I welcome a diverse range of academics and disciplinary specialists who now see HELTASA as a place to strengthen their scholarly practice in teaching and learning. I welcome you all, and may you find HELTASA to be a place of belonging, community, support, and inspiration as we work towards a common goal and vision, I hope, of a socially inclusive and robust higher education sector that ensures that students succeed because of our efforts as university teachers, not despite it. The theme of this year's conference, creating enabling learning spaces for all, couldn't be more appropriate. The COVID pandemic has offered us opportunities, but also challenges. In the pivot to online ERT pedagogy this year, we have had to enable, not disable, ways in which students learn through our efforts to prepare courses, teaching, and assessments in ways that do not compromise the importance of pedagogical rigor and integrity. We have all been learning to teach and assess online at a physical distance. We have been learning, however, to ensure that while physical distance is a safety measure, social togetherness is a necessity in the online teaching space. The spaces we now inhabit virtually and through the affordances of technology are still spaces, we have to remember, for human contact, interaction, and engagement to enable learning for fully embodied and situated human beings. The world of machines can alienate and can make one feel alone. Some students thrive despite this challenge, but many seek the connection that makes teaching and learning a human endeavor, full of energy, bodies, expressions, sounds, animations, and so on. To enable learning spaces for all, ones that are inclusive and conscious of the losses and gains of different modes of delivery, requires each of us to have a different kind of heightened presence and awareness. We need to mitigate the huge gaps that the pandemic has surfaced for many students who don't have access, capital, or the wherewithal to thrive in online spaces. COVID-19 has amplified both the fractures as well as the affordances of teaching online. While we have learned much this year, there still exists deep socio-historical challenges, even in this mode, and we must work with this. COVID-19 has disrupted us in many ways. This disruption has been productive in many ways and has inspired us to respond to crises in ways we haven't done before. But crises, one may argue, are part of higher education and have been for a long time now. With the uneven and unleveled resources and differentials across the material divide in the higher education landscape, we are always in crisis. But how can we use the crisis and the disruption to a productive end? Does crisis lead to disruption? Does disruption lead to crisis? How can we use these moments to encourage us to imagine and create a new future reality for all? The future is here and has been for a while. And as we begin to engage with Fourth Industrial Revolution, the SDGs and so on in our curricula, we understand that we have to act. But the future is not the same for us all. It doesn't hold the same promise. It is not understood in the same way in the global North and the global South. But we have to reckon with it nevertheless. I think the most enduring way to face the future, or a future, and to be ready for it as teachers and students, is to deal responsibly with our past and our present, and to prepare the ground for a fertile future for all. Our keynote speakers will no doubt be setting the keynotes for these debates and discussions. We look forward to the input from Prof. Marwala today, Prof. Ramagondo tomorrow, and Prof. Balim on Thursday. We are in great company indeed. To end this brief address, I would like to offer you a challenge over the next 3 days. The challenge is simple. In the online mode, it is easy to drift into virtual reality, not as embodied realities. If we look at our new turn of phrase or the language we use in online mode, we can see how easily this drift can happen. I want you to reflect on these utterances that you are all too familiar with in the online meeting space or teaching and learning spaces now. Muted, I'm on mute, you have muted me, unmute me please. Can you see me? Am I on?
We can still hear you, thank you.
Can you hear me? I can't hear, can't connect, losing.
We can still hear you.
Okay. So these are some of the phrases that have become part of our discourses in the online spaces. I want you to think about these phrases such as I'm on mute, can you see me, can you hear me, I can't connect, losing connection, write in the chat, are you an old hand? And think about these as metaphors and symbols of something deeper that we have to work with. Being muted still has to do perhaps with the issue of voice and who can insert their voices. Can you see me? Might have to do with a reminder to think about visibility of students. Who's invisible? Who's hypervisible? Can you hear me as teachers? Are we listening? Are we listening deeply? I can't connect. Is that a bid for human connection? Right in the chat might be a message to communicate. Are you an old hand? Is a question for us about who is now the expert in the online space. With that, I would like you to think about the online spaces you engage with in the conference and think about what it means to be fully present and embodied in these spaces as human beings. I invite you to engage also with the HELTASA specific events, such as the collaborative learning communities session, the reflective space at the end of the conference, where we would like to see how you've embodied these spaces, and especially the HELTASA AGM on Thursday. You will find all of these on the program. Of course, you must enjoy each and every session that you attend and participate wholeheartedly. I welcome you to HELTASA 2020, and may you enjoy the journey over the next 3 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Behari-Leak, for that welcome. I apologize for interrupting your welcoming address. I just wanted to make sure that everybody hears me too, because some of our students don't hear us, and sometimes we are muted. That is very true. I also enjoyed in your message in the program, the thought of courage and fortitude that has not only been shown by our academics, but by our students too. Some of them have really gone the extra mile to ensure that they are successful. And the possibilities and the impulses that we have created to create interaction and engagement for them, I think is truly seen by many, if not all academics, in not only South Africa, but the globe, in terms of getting students to be engaged, stay engaged, and so that they can ultimately succeed in their own learning. So thank you very much, Professor Behari-Leak. We really appreciate those words.